I can't believe out of all the watchings that I've had, it never clicked, until right now.
And Casey and April in the cabin, like he's giving her massages and they're all sweaty
Hmm.
and they're like he's
Well,
calling her
and
toots and babe and all that kind of like that's it's a it pushes the PG limit and people
mhm.
thought it was too violent. The toy line, remember the Toys That Made Us, the documentary, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome. They didn't even
Oh
make
man,
toys
I
for this
love that
movie.
episode.
Which cost
Yeah, I
them,
know.
dude, how many millions? Well, actually, what, in 90, they had a number one animated show, number one
Yeah.
comic, and number one movie. So, I mean, they weren't, they weren't bad off. But
I
imagine how
think,
much money they would have made with those toys.
and I think it would have been great because if you look at like that first wave that came out from the animated series, like they were good. Like I could grab one out of my kid's toy bin right now, and they looked good. They were functional. They looked really just fun. And as it went on, it just got so goofy that even as a kid, I was like, I don't know if I want these like Hawaiian turtles.
I had them all.
We're on that. You had them all.
I did. And I had the alligator, I had
That
the
doesn't
rock
surprise
monster,
me at
I had the
all.
bunny. So I would clean places and I would save up my lunch money and then I would also get a $5 a week allowance and that all went to turtles.
I think around that time though, when I got like 7 or 8, and I discovered the X-Men and the X-Men toys came out, that's
Oh
where
yeah.
my money.
Those were
I love
cooler.
those things.
And that's
But
when
I
the
think
animated
that
show was out.
yeah, yeah, but I think that if with how goofy like the animated line got, had they made some more grounded or darker, toys for the first one, especially with people that were already fans of the comics or more adults, they would have got it. It wouldn't have just been for the kids, it would have been gotten a more widespread audience, and especially collectors that
Yeah.
may have had the first issue of Turtles or something like that. Man, I looked up right before I hopped on here. I just looked to see like because the original print run of that first Turtles comic book, the number one is only like 3,000 or like
Yeah.
3,500.
And that
And
went
I
quick,
looked to
right?
see, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I went to see what it like a like nice graded 9.8 and near mint copy went for. And the one I found was in 2016 and went for $21,000.
Wow.
And the original sketch that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird did when they were like just kind of goofing off and making it up there in 2012 went for $71,000 at auction.
Wow.
It's nuts. And yeah, just thinking about like that stuff and what it's grown into and how no one even wanted to give it a shot. It's just really fun to see how it's how it performed and how it's kind of stood the test of time, even though that they've the newer ones are a little you take them for what they were. I wasn't a big fan. There were some moments that I liked, but the last one that I really enjoyed was the animated one. The animated they did TMNT. I love that one because there were so many throwbacks to the original movie. And I mean, if you can get Patrick Stewart in to voice a character in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, I mean, you got to know it's a winner right away, right?
Because that was popular. Critics liked it. It did well theatrically. I think people
It
dug
was
it.
fun. It still had a lot of the same dynamics that this first movie did with the brothers and like the intense stuff between Raph and Leo. In TMNT they had the fight on the roof, which was my favorite part of that whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Where he like beat his brother and he didn't know how to deal with it. Like that was a big adult moment in that movie even. So it's nice to see that it's all goofy and cowabunga, but then those bring it back into the reality and this has substance to it.
I think it's about just respecting the kids. I mean, you look at the classics of the Star Wars, right? You look at Indiana Jones. I mean, even Sandlot, right? Kids,
yeah.
like, I think they kind of they I don't know, they didn't pander, I guess. I mean, they did pander. I mean, there are jokes, but they're also talking about Humphrey Bogart in this movie. It's like, what? And then Casey Jones, man, like, I really like the arc of Casey Jones. I like that he starts. He goes and defends Raphael. They do make a joke, though, about how he is Wayne Gretzky on steroids. But Wayne Gretzky on steroids would be like 6'3", 250, and he would just rip off poor Casey Jones' head. But I liked his inclusion. I thought he felt, I don't know, the Koteas' presence. I bought him, and I did think it was a little silly at the end when two highly trained foot soldiers run at him, and he throws 2 punches and knocks him out. But it's visual.
I mean, it's a talent.
Yeah.
And it's a talent, Mark. Come on. He even says it.
I would be so happy. Imagine if you and I got attacked by foot soldiers, and you and I just throw 2 punches each, and we knock out 4 foot soldiers. You and I would be confused. We would be like, we would be like, is this a joke? And then
They must have been the new recruits, because if you see that last punch he did, he doesn't even like throw it out. He just kind of like lifts his hands up in that pose, and the dude just kind of runs into it and falls down. Like that first one, he like follows through, and the other one he just kind of goes, huh, but he just like throws his fist out, but doesn't like follow through. And the guy just runs into it and goes down.
Yeah, you're right. A new recruit. Maybe he got nervous. I mean, these are kids, and I thought it was pretty interesting in the beginning of the film. They wiped out an entire truck in 15 seconds. Did you see that? So I counted it.
Yeah.
I want to do a data post about that, like a 47-foot soldier.
How much was in there? Yeah, what did the boxes weigh based off of what you saw beforehand?
And then stealing TVs from people and wallets. And I thought it was a pretty interesting... and I feel like when you're younger and you have those experiences and you have people who aren't really looking out for you, like Sid in the movie. Sid. Yeah.
Oh, Danny?
Yeah, Danny.
He's
always wearing
Sid Vicious
shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
But Danny's dad works all the time. He's gone. So he's just kind of out there on his own. And I could see that
it never said anything about his mom, did it?
No.
I don't ever remember it, like, what was his dad, Charles, never said anything about my wife is this, or he may have, but yeah, they never once mentioned. So, like, is he, like, a single parent? Like, what happened to,
Exactly.
That whole thing. That's a good point.
You kind of buy into that kid maybe falling in with Shredder, and Shredder uses that whole dialogue of, which can be absolutely used as manipulation of, we're a family. We look out for you. I give you menthol cigarettes.
The outside world rejected you. You can have McDonald's whenever you want.
Yeah.
Skateboard? Hell yeah.
But you got to go steal for me.
Kids, especially teenagers at that time, Len, if someone's like, I can give you all this and there are no consequences and you have this big group that's going to look out for you and protect you, I mean, yeah, who wouldn't want to, potentially jump at that, especially someone whose parents, arguably don't really give a crap about what's going on, whether it be because of job or otherwise.
And I also like their big fight scene. So after they beat up Raphael, the foot soldiers, they attack with their fists, and then they get axes. There's an axe foot soldier who carries axes around. Whose job is that? And they're out in the open. So is there a foot soldier running around with 20 axes? Like, how does this work? Explain it to me.
I want to go back and see how many foot soldiers showed up for that like, antique store fight, because they just keep coming in.
Yeah.
So there are ones that are on the roof. And then, they're beating the crap out of Raph, and then just like when he's like, come on, how are you guys going to beat me? And then they're like all of a sudden 30 more getting to the roof. And it's broad daylight at that point. So someone had to have seen them. And then when they throw Raph down, then how many jump into April's apartment? And then beyond that, when they fall through the floor, there are already how many waiting for them? And then they just keep going. But, you're telling me no one saw like a dude, like, did they take a van to get there? Did they take the sewers? Like, was it a big school bus and they just like, they're unloading like, this big thing of axes out of there?
Did
he drop some on the way in?
Yeah.
He gets up to the second flight of stairs and trips, and they just tang, go all down the stairs. That'd be great.
He has one short.
Kind of gives away the element of surprise. Yeah.
I mean, it's like when he's climbing up in the sewers, is he handing them one at a time? Like, it's just. I just love that scene, but I also think as an action scene it works because it works its way from the top to the bottom. Raphael's on the roof, gets thrown into the second floor. They start trying to axe the turtles. They miss. More jump in. It goes to the antique store. So whoever wrote it, I mean, I know that Golden Harvest did it, and Fists of Fury right now is free on Tubi. Right now, it's one of the greatest martial arts films ever made. So I think they choreographed some pretty excellent most excellent.
Yeah,
fights.
And even for the fact that they had to do all that stuff in those gigantic suits, I think I saw something that they slowed the film rate down a little bit, they sped it up so they could go slower to actually get everything.
Yeah, they sped it up.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And but it's crazy, and I think that's another reason why it was just a fun picture. Good movie. Yeah. It worked out well.
How talented of a tracker or navigator do you think Casey Jones had to have been to see that building from so far away? Like, he had those like big old binoculars. He's like, I know where that is. That's over at 6th and Main. And he finds the building and like knows exactly where they are, And the other thing, like Casey Jones, I think that's why a lot of people dug that character, is because he's just like the big, jock. He's got baseball bats, he's got a hockey stick, he's got all this stuff, and he shows up to fight, supposedly, trained ninjas with all these skills that are beating the crap out of these turtles, and he shows up and just starts like meleeing and like haymakering and like taking them all out. I was like, really? This guy's gonna come in and, clean house?
And it's pretty brilliant too, and it sets him up well. Because at first you think, is this guy maybe an antagonist? Is he just a kind of pain in the butt?
Did
But then
he show up to like finish the fight with Raphael? It's like, there's that guy, I'm gonna go show him what's up.
Yeah.
And then he shows up to, help out. Was that his intention to begin with, or is he just trying to, show off in front of the pretty lady?
He read the room.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna beat up the turtle, but these guys look pretty slippery here, so I'm gonna fight
It's not a challenge anymore. He got the shit kicked out of him.
But I love that he ran in there. I love that he kind of put himself in the line, and I like that you just brought up April, played by Judith Hoag. I really like her in this movie because I liked her interaction with the chief. How long will it take me to get kicked out by the police chief?
Yeah, dude, she was a strong character. Like, she was no nonsense. Like, I know what's going on. I'm gonna push the thing. Even in that first interview, when she was calling him out on his BS.
Yep.
When are you what about this thing? Oh, that's just blah blah blah. Are you denying that? Just like coming right back at him, like trying to get that answer. She's a really good character in this. To be a female, one of the only females in the movie.
And when she gets cornered in the subway, she just starts wailing on him with her like she's trying to fight. But that's cool though, man. Like, I like that. In some movies, I think people just give up, or they yell, or they damsels in distress. Like, she tries to
they could have very well had her like take the hit and go down, and she's like, oh no, please don't, and then Raph shows up. But yeah, she tried to fight back, and again, no nonsense, bring it on.
And she so sometimes purse strikes are kind of wimpy, like they're comical, but I felt hurt by the purse strike she was throwing. Like, that was a club.
That was a big bag. That was a big bag. And if she could fit, like, that sigh was not small. When she takes it out, you see how big it was. She had that in there. But like, what else was in that bag? Like, if she's going from job to job in New York, and she's got to have some sort of like, an extra microphone, maybe some cords, like some heavy stuff in there. That had to have packed a bit of a wallop.
Some forearms of these foot soldiers are going to be bruised.
Yeah. The shoulders right below the head.
And before we go on break, I just want one thing for you. I think I picked up on a plot hole in this movie.
Oh,
so I want to run it by. So there's a scene where the turtles first strike, and they use their ninjutsu secrecy, and they beat up all the guys, but Sam Rockwell's one of them, and he's tied up.
Yeah.
But then later on, he's just back. Does a foot soldier have like bail bonds? Right? Because he gets arrested.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everyone's in there, but then he's back. My guess is, they're connected somehow. Like, because even if you look at like, not to get too much into the sequels, but Secret of the Ooze, there was the one foot soldier that worked with April, and so they at some point have to have like a couple people planted in certain positions, whether they be teams or otherwise, to maybe fudge paperwork. Or, or maybe they just like intercepted the car on the way to the police station and got him out. Yeah.
I want to know I just want to see them going to jail, then getting bailed out by a foot soldier, going to a bail bondsman.
If you ever interview Sam Rockwell for any reason, you'll have to ask him what happened to his character.
He'd punch me. He's like, are you asking me what happened in 1990 about me getting arrested? Like, yeah. Come on, man.
Exactly. The people want to know. Give the people what they want.
You know what? I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to call him right now. And when we come back from break, I will have an answer. We'll be right back. We'll talk more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I greatly await that.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I have a question for you, Nathan.
Bring it on.
How adorable is little baby Splinter? Little training in a cage, mimicking his master, and just doing adorable moves in his cage.
I've seen rats, stand up on their back feet a couple times, but for the extent that he did, like his quads just have to be huge from the amount of like bearing his weight up. He could have kicked that cage door open. He probably had a bunch of restraint to not escape and just try to tackle his master and get him, throwing some judo moves and stuff. What the people are wondering, did Rockwell answer? What was the answer?
Bail bondsman. Bail bondsman.
Bail bondsman. All right. Well, There we go. Now we know.
Yeah. Which is kind of, so they had a familiar. Vampires and Blade have familiars.
There you go.
The foot, they have familiars. And so the foot, you can tell by their they never wear socks, and there's a tattoo right on the top of their foot.
Does he have a footprint tattoo like on the inside of his lip? like Reedus did in Blade 2.
His name is
That's how he
Scud.
shows people.
His name
Or
is
it's like
Scud.
in Michael B. Jordan and Black Panther. He's just got it on the inside. The Wakandans have it on the inside of their lip.
Oh, that's amazing. Just a little